There's some very hot rumors on the internet suggesting that AEW's TV deal could be in trouble. We're also going to talk about a new signing for AEW. But in this video, I want to kick things off talking about Logan Paul, because we were all under the belief that Logan Paul going to WWE would result in Logan Paul not being a professional boxer. However, on the Pat McAfee show, it appears that Logan Paul is set for a boxing match coming up this December. He actually says he is a boxer now again. We're going to go from professional sport to professional sport. I want to get a fight in December. I have some people in mind, but I can't say. You only get one first impression, and that's part of my ability to make moments. I like making first impressions big, and so I want to keep it a secret until we're ready. Now, obviously, Logan Paul did a fantastic job at SummerSlam, and I think this was a really good thing for WWE, and most importantly, it's really good for Logan Paul. And before, I kind of talked about Logan Paul being a professional boxer and why I don't think it's a good idea. However, the more and more that I actually think about this, just a quick update on it, I do think it's actually a good thing for Logan Paul to do boxing simultaneously. I don't know if it's going to be against somebody like KSI again. I don't know if it's going to be another YouTuber or if it's actually going to be like a real professional boxer. But one of the biggest things that I'm starting to realize is that Logan Paul's appeal to WWE is not the fact that this guy could actually be like a full-time wrestler, but more so the idea that Logan Paul could be a special attraction. Now, if this means that Logan Paul is going to be on a few events a year, kind of like Pat McAfee, I don't necessarily like that, because I think Logan Paul is very good at this wrestling stuff. I think he is really good, and he is going to be good long-term for WWE in terms of business if he's actually a full-time wrestler like we all originally thought. One of the biggest risks of being a pro boxer is that it is a very real combat sport. There's people who die from boxing. There's been notable names who have never been the same because of their boxing career. So with Logan Paul going into boxing, I understand it definitely helps out WWE, but I also have to imagine that it's a risky situation. So we'll see how he goes about it and who his opponent is. I'll let you guys know. We don't have an update as far as, Logan Paul not coming back to wrestling. I think he's going to be there as well, but we'll kind of see how this all works out, because when you're a professional boxer, you got a long training camp. It's August 2022. We'll get some more information soon. Guys, AEW's TV deal could very well be in jeopardy, and it's so strange because we've followed a lot of the TV deal stuff for a really long time, and I get a lot of questions about the ROH TV deal specifically. Now, one of the biggest things that is being talked about on the internet is the fact that HBO Max may essentially fold, and Discovery is going to really push Discovery Plus. And based on this rumor, we're already starting to see different franchises being dropped or different titles being dropped and not being published. And one of them is Batgirl, which was over $90 million to create. And the new executives basically decided, hey, this is one of those things where they've decided to cancel the show, but it might be one of those things where I think they are very, very keen on doing things their way and their way only. Now, look, is Batgirl a good movie? I don't know, right? It wasn't public. It wasn't something that people can see. But with them pushing a lot of their own content, there's a lot of rumors on the internet that suggest AEW's ROH, like the reason why ROH hasn't been picked up is because Discovery may not be interested in it. And when I hear rumors like this, I try to not believe them. But when you see that other titles are being axed, when you see things about the streaming service being folded and everything being merged to Discovery, I think it's a really bad idea. Honestly, I think HBO Max is one of the best streaming apps out there. The amount of content that they have, and I don't know what the algorithms are for HBO Max, but the one thing I do know is that I tend to find myself going back to HBO Max and using it more often than some of these other streaming services. Now, if ROH didn't get picked up by Discovery because Discovery isn't interested, and let's say Rampage and Dynamite aren't doing enough to satisfy the people at Discovery, there is a good chance that a big company, maybe Amazon, maybe Apple, because they're getting into live sports, I can see a very big situation when it comes to the next TV negotiations where one of these major companies who desires content will come out and say, look, Tony Khan, we want Dynamite, we want Rampage, we want Dark, we want Elevation, we want Honor Club, we want ROH, we want all the pay-per-views, we want all of this stuff on our service. And I think if you're Tony Khan, that's going to be very hard to say no to. I don't know what type of money we'll be looking at, but I imagine that the next TV deal will pay a lot more than AEW's previous TV deal. If that's not with Discovery, Warner Media, like if that's not a big concern for me personally, I just like the fact that TNT and TBS are easily accessible for a lot of people. Whereas maybe not everybody uses Apple TV Plus, or maybe not everybody uses Amazon Prime. But I do think this is very interesting. I don't want to say that AEW is going to lose their TV deal, but I expect there to be a lot of big talk about this in the near future. Had Discovery, not bought Warner Media, I don't think this would even be a concern. But we have seen, and historically speaking, when TV companies merge, people get dropped. And sometimes it's the ones that perform very well. And I don't know. I feel like AEW does a good job. I don't know why they wouldn't want it, but it looks like they're just kind of keen on doing it their way and their way only, and it might be a problem for them. I do want to turn our attention to a new signing for AEW. I absolutely love this. Blake Christian, a.k.a. Trey Baxter in WWE NXT. He is signing with AEW. According to Fightful Select, AEW has reached an agreement with Blake Christian, with the agreement tied to Ring of Honor, which, like, obviously AEW is owned by Tony Khan. I think this is fantastic. This is one of those things where, AEW, ROH, the way that they're really going to do well is by finding young talent and talent that aren't overexposed. And Trey Baxter was not overexposed in WWE. And yes, he has made a name known for himself in the indies and mostly through GCW, but we have seen him in other companies. We have seen him like in Impact and stuff. And I always thought maybe he would be a fantastic X Division champion. But we don't, when we look at the wrestling landscape, this is one of those signings where I think AEW benefits from it, because not only is he very talented in the ring, but this guy has passion and he does have charisma. And one of those things that like you need to figure out is how you can position them properly. I have no problem with AEW or Tony Khan specifically signing people and putting them on ROH. They're going to need a roster. But as time goes on, if you're Christian, if you're Blake Christian, you want to be moved to AEW and headline the big pay-per-views. Like, that's how I would feel. You know what I mean? I would like to use this opportunity to go through ROH, work with Tony Khan, build a relationship, put on great matches, develop my sense of character a little bit, develop my image, work on the things that I need to develop so that way I could take it to the next level. And then when I'm ready, move on to the big show. And, I know AEW and ROH are going to be separate, and Tony Khan is very keen on, using both rosters at the same time. But I think if he kind of uses ROH to feed AEW, it could actually benefit the growth of ROH versus ROH just being a standalone brand. So Blake Christian signing with AEW, ROH is totally cool with me. Obviously, they've had a lot of signings in the past year, but the idea that he's going to be strictly working for ROH, at least to begin, is something I think is a good move. And you know what, man? With Triple H running back in creative, you got to keep in mind that there are going to be talent who will probably go to WWE. So if you're making signings and you're not re-signing people and you're going to lose people, it's really not that big of a deal. It's kind of a wash at the end of the day. Let me know what you guys think down below.